You need paper?
All right, so we're back in Joshua. We're going to be Joshua chapter 18 and chapter 19. Last week we talked about Ephraim and Manasseh getting their inheritance, and spent some time on that. And then we are going to continue on. We covered this last week. We'll cover it again quickly because now you have the handout. But the headquarters have been in Gilgal, right? And so right now we have Manasseh, Ephraim, Judah, Reuben, and Gad have all gotten their inheritance. And Judah, Ephraim, Manasseh, they were cast out of Gilgal. But now we read in Joshua chapter 18, in verse 1, and the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there, and the land was subdued before them. So now we find that they moved the tabernacle from Gilgal to Shiloh. From Gilgal to Shiloh. And so Shiloh is the capital city for Israel for the next 300 plus years. Some believe it's 369 years, but over 300 years. It's going to be the capital city, centrally located in the tribe of Ephraim. And for going back to our handout here, so the tabernacle moved from Gilgal, thank you, to Shiloh. Ooh, that was close. We know that the Lord's hand was on this move because Jeremiah 7:12 says, "But go ye now unto my place which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at the first." And so so the Lord did set his name in Shiloh. What does Shiloh mean?
Place of peace.
Place of peace or place of rest. Place of peace or place of rest. That's BC. We find it's located in Ephraim, the tribe of Ephraim. So they would hold all their annual feasts there. It seems to be more like a capital city would be, where you have all your, well, in this case, the Levites would come in there and would minister, and everybody else would come in for the feast days, which would be 3 times a year, and then leave and go back to their homes. So much like a college town, the students would come in for college, and then when college is out, the place is a ghost town. I'm thinking Shiloh is something similar to that. But this is where the tabernacle has been set up. The tabernacle will stay in Shiloh for over 300 years. So according to Talmudic sources, the 10th sanctuary remained at Shiloh for 369 years until the Ark of the Covenant was taken into the battle camp at Ebenezer and captured by the Philistines at Aphek. At some point during its long stay at Shiloh, the portable tent seemed to have been enclosed within a compound, so there must have been a permanent structure set up. And we talked about some verses last week where Eli was at the door of the tabernacle, so it seemed more a permanent structure than a tent. It was at Shiloh that Eli and Samuel ministered. It was where Hannah prayed for her son, and then for Samuel was prayed. Yes.
The tabernacle was taken by the Philistines?
The Ark of the Covenant.
The Ark?
The Ark of the Covenant.
Was taken by the...
Yes.
But I understood that nobody could touch that.
Well, they would have had to put on a cart.
They knew it?
Well, they would have had to figure it out. Yeah. No, they would have...
probably the last couple of people...
No, it's a fascinating study on the movement of the Ark of the Covenant. Eventually, they didn't want anything to do with it because it was causing such havoc in their towns that they kind of let the Israelites retake it. So yeah, no, it's a fascinating study. So Eli's sons, they took it out of the tabernacle to use in war against the Philistines, and they took them doing that, and God allowed it to be captured and taken. From that point forward, Shiloh is not really mentioned, but we do see in Psalm 78 reference to Shiloh. Psalm 78, starting in verse 55, we read, "He cast out the heathen also before them and divided them in inheritance by line and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents." So this is talking about Joshua has divided the inheritance So we're talking about what we're talking about right now. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High God and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dealt unfaithfully like the fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful foe, for they provoked him to anger with their high places and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When God heard this, he was wroth and greatly abhorred Israel. So, of course, we're looking forward from this point in time. The Israelites will turn from God, worship false idols, set up false temples and so forth, and do everything that the Canaanites were doing that they should have destroyed to begin with. But we'll read how each one did not destroy them. And we find it had a great influence, which leads us directly into Judges. And so this is where God turned against the Israelites and let them be captured by the Canaanites, and then God would send a judge to set things back in order. And so here we're just talking about this. So this is where God is wroth, verse 60. So that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity and his glory into the enemy's hand. So here we have the Ark of the Covenant has moved into the enemy's hand, as the psalm is saying. And Shiloh has been defeated. Here, verse 62 says that he gave his people over also into the sword and was wroth with his inheritance. The fire consumed their young men, and their maidens were not given to marriage. Their priests fell by the sword, and their widows made no lamentation. So Shiloh fell pretty hard. So let's talk about Shiloh. The tabernacle, we understand the tabernacle moved from Shiloh. So 300 plus years, that's a pretty long time. I mean, that's older than the United States is old, right? And so it was there at the capital. The capital was there for a fairly long time. It moved next to a place called Nob. If you're familiar, this is where Saul came in and killed off the priests. He massacred the priests there. The tabernacle was then moved to Gibeon. If you remember, the Gibeonites made peace with Joshua. So this is where the tabernacle can be. So at Nob, it was at the tabernacle was there for 76 years. At Gibeon, it was there at 58 years. And at this point in time, David is coming on the scene, and then Solomon builds the temple. And so then from there, we don't.
How many years?
58 years in Gibeon.
The tabernacle.
The tabernacle, right. And so then we have Solomon. 2 Chronicles 1:3. So Solomon, all the congregation with him, went to the high place that was at Gibeon, for there was the tabernacle of the congregation which Moses, the servant of the Lord, had made in the wilderness. From Gibeon, then the ark is then moved. Well, it's actually moved to David's tent. So David set up kind of his own tabernacle. It was there, and then moved to the temple when Solomon built the temple. So then we don't hear about the tabernacle after Gibeon. For comparison's sake, Solomon's temple existed for 382 years. King Herod's temple, I'll call King Herod's there. King Zerubbabel's temple, the second temple, King Herod's temple, lasted for 585 years. So if you add 369 plus the other 40 for being in the wilderness, another 7 for the time at Gilgal, you know, these are all pretty comparable number of years, long periods of time that the tabernacle, the first temple, and the second temple.
And to Shiloh came
From Gilgal, left Gilgal, but more or less Gilgal is the military headquarters while they're defeating the Promised Land, right? And then moved to Shiloh. At some point the tabernacle became a permanent structure, 1 Samuel 3:15, and Samuel lay until the morning and opened the doors of the house of the Lord, and Samuel feared to show Eli the vision. The tabernacle didn't have doors, it was a tent, and this is talking about doors, so at some point it became a permanent structure. So Shiloh, we showed a video last week. Shiloh, capital city, pretty amazing location. And as we've mentioned, the archaeology is all brand new. Every time they dig something daily, there's new things coming up. I found it fascinating, the one video we're showing how he was mentioning all the pottery, all the pottery shards all around the mountains around in Shiloh's on a little hill within a valley, so it's elevated, but it's not a high point, and it's more like in a 360-degree bowl. And they've taken out truckloads after truckloads of shard pottery that went all the way up to the ridge. The pottery wasn't on the other side of the ridge or on top of the ridge; it was only on that part where you can imagine the Israelites would come in for the feast, have their sacrifice, and enjoy their sacrifice with the pottery that they used to enjoy the meals with, and then break the pottery and leave it there because of the holy feast. Much like, well, this is a bad example, but for holidays you have your paper plates and things like that. You're gonna throw those away because you don't want to clean them up or take them with you. But this is pottery. But how the Israelites enjoyed the feast, observed the sacrifices that were taking place at the tabernacle, and they got to sit around and observe it. I was thinking, the Lord sets things up so that we can see, right? The tabernacle, everything was visible to the whole nation. Where these false temples, they're all the way up on the mountaintop, and the Lord, the God that they're worshiping is hard to reach and hard to get to hold. We have a God that is available to us, that's present with us, wants to dwell among us. And here you can see it by the setup of the tabernacle, by the setup of Shiloh, with the mountain being around, and they get to sit there and just be in His presence, see the offerings being given, just see the activities of the priests. We have a God that's available and open to us. He's not someone that's way up high and unreachable. All right, that was verse 1, wasn't it? Joshua chapter 18 and verse 1. We can, of course, spend a lot more time on there, but that's Shiloh. All right, so verse 2, and there remained among the children of Israel 7 tribes. We haven't talked about 7 tribes yet. There's still 7 tribes that have not got their inheritance, which had not received, I should just read the verse, which had not received their inheritance. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, how long are you slack to go possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers has given you? Joshua's getting a little perturbed here. What's taking you so long? We got to get this land divvied up. Let's get this done and over with. And for some reason, there is delay. I guess either they're just tired of war, or they realize, there's still Canaanites in the land, and we really don't want to fight anymore. We always want the easy way out. And so, number 4, Joshua upset with the 7 remaining tribes. Hey, Joshua, so in verse 4, give out from among you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land, and describe it according to the inheritance of the land of them, and they shall come again to me. So Joshua asked for 3 men from each tribe to go explore out the land, survey the land. Verse 5, and they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall abide in their coast on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their coasts on the north. And so they're going to go out there, the remaining land, there's 7 tribes left, divide it, come up with 7 portions. Now, Judah has already got his, he's in the south. The tribe of Joseph, which makes up Manasseh and Ephraim, is to the north. And so they already have theirs. So you figure out the rest of the portions that can be divvied up. In verse 5, and they shall divide. We were talking about verse 6. Ye shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you before the Lord our God. But the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance, and Gad and Reuben and the half tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them. So when they come back, and they got a description of the land, Joshua is going to throw lots. So it must be that Judah already going to get his, and Joseph was already going to get theirs, so the remainder was going to be divvied up. Of course, these are the ones that got the double inheritance. Ephraim got the double. Ephraim and Manasseh got the double inheritance. Judah got the firstborn rights. That makes sense. Where's what? Manasseh is not the firstborn. No. No, remember, Reuben's the firstborn. Reuben, what had happened to him? He violated because he had was it with Tamar? Or that's Judah with Tamar?
No, he violated his father.
He violated his father. So Judah, then Simeon and Levi are number 2 and 3. They murdered all of the why is it coming up? Anyway, there's 3. The firstborn right moved down 3 lines to the 4th child of Judah because of what their sins. All right.
So Reuben didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
So
Judah.
Well, he didn't do anything wrong to violate getting the firstborn right.
Oh, he was one. It's not with them when they threw Joseph and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't with the brothers when they threw Joseph and
With Simeon and Levi.
She's talking about.
Now you're talking about Joseph. Yeah, Judah was the one that was helping Joseph. Right. All right, verse 8. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, Go and walk through the land, describe it, and come again to me, that I may here cast lots for you before the Lord in Shiloh. And the men went and passed through the land, and described it by the cities into 7 parts in a book, and came again to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land unto the children of Israel according to their divisions. So here, these verses just describe that they fulfilled what Joshua had asked them to do. So Joshua asked 3 men from each tribe, go out and survey the land, come up with the descriptions of the land, 7 portions, come back to me, we'll cast lots, and then you'll get your inheritance from there. Okay, so now we're casting the lots. Casting lots. And so the first one who comes up when the lot is cast is Benjamin. Benjamin must have been one lot is for the tribe and the other lot is for the inheritance of the land, the portion of the land. So Joshua chapter 18 and verse 11, and the lot of the children of Benjamin came up according to the families, and the coast of their lot came forth between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. And so we know Benjamin's lot is between Ephraim and Judah, or the tribe of Joseph. So we're smack right dab in the middle. So verses 12 through 20 describe the boundaries, which, if you allow me, basically says this. Verses 21 through 28 list the cities. There's 14 or 26 cities that are mentioned. Go ahead.
Peter, Benjamin is the youngest.
Benjamin's the youngest, right?
That's why they put him in the middle.
Yeah, so he fulfills the prophecy, Moses' blessing, Deuteronomy 33:12. And of Benjamin he said, the beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him. And the Lord shall cover him all the day long, and he shall dwell between his shoulders. David's absolutely right. Let's protect our favorite child. Let's protect the baby. All right, so verses 21 through 28 list all these cities, which they're very important cities, right? Benjamin got when we talk about biblical history, Benjamin's right in the middle of it. He's in the target of the cities that we focus on. Jericho, Gibeon, Ramah, Mizpah, Jerusalem. These are major cities that are right where Benjamin is. So Benjamin gets to have Jerusalem, where the temple is going to be. So the beloved of the Lord shall dwell in safety by him, and the Lord shall cover him all the day long. Already describing the temple. Future temple being in the tribe of Benjamin fulfills Moses' blessing. The tribe of Benjamin. The tribe of Simeon. Here are the cities of Benjamin. The tribe of Simeon And by the way, the commentaries, there's not a lot of information about all these verses. I mean, we're listing all these cities, all these locations, and honestly, they're not exactly sure where majority of them are. So there's not really a lot to talk about. I'm sure over time, as archaeologists continue on, they're going to discover more and more. Just within the past year, there's just some incredible finds. But it's been kind of disappointing studying, finding that there isn't a lot to share. But here is Simeon. So Joshua 19:1, and the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and the inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. Jumping to verse 9, now the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon. For the part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. So apparently Judah didn't need all the land. Remember in our graph, we saw that they had like 48% of all the land. Realizing my calculation, forgot to subtract out Simeon in that calculation. But Judah does have had almost 50% of all the land of all the promised land. So apparently they determined that Judah had too much land. So they decided to give it to somebody else, and they gave a portion to another tribe. Simeon drew that lot, and he's the one that got the land within the tribe of Judah.
And then now, Simeon is the one that's before.
No, so Benjamin's up high. Then we're south. Then we're asking. Yeah. So this is south. Egypt is over here, and the Red Sea is down here. So we're in southern. It does. Yeah. So Benjamin's up here. This is the Dead Sea. It's within inside an enclave within Judah. Yeah. Inside of Judah. So being placed within the boundary of Judah fulfilled Jacob's blessing on Simeon. Genesis 49:5. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly mine honor. Be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man. In their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So where this promises for Levi and for Simeon. Levi doesn't get an inheritance. They're literally being scattered throughout Israel by being the priests, right? Next year, we'll talk about the refuge, the cities of refuge, and the Levitical cities. And so they're going to be throughout all of the promised land, throughout all of Israel. And here's Simeon. He's being put right in the middle of another tribe. So this is fulfilling Jacob's blessing or curse on Levi and Simeon. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Verses 2 through 8 describe the cities of Simeon. And so there's the cities that are described there. It's not going to be long before Simeon was to lose her individuality as a tribe. Her territory was incorporated eventually into that of Judah, and many of her citizens will eventually migrate north to Ephraim and Manasseh. 2 Chronicles 15:9 says that he gathered all Judah and Benjamin, and the strangers with him out of Ephraim and Manasseh and out of Simeon, for they fell to him out of Israel in abundance when they saw that the Lord his God was with him. 2 Chronicles 34:6, and so did he in the cities of Manasseh and Ephraim and Simeon, even unto Naphtali, with their mattocks round about. So Simeon is no longer being described as being within Judah. It's being described as being up in Ephraim and Manasseh, the northern portion. So eventually Simeon is going to blend into Judah and then migrate north. So this explains why after the division of the kingdom, the northern and southern kingdom, the southern kingdom is going to be made up of how many tribes? 2. The northern kingdom is going to be made up of how many tribes? 10. So which 2 are in the southern kingdom? Judah Benjamin. Simeon is not there. Right? They migrated north. But their original inheritance is in the middle of Judah. Questions on Simeon? There may or may not be able to answer. All right, Zebulun. Jacob's blessing says Zebulun would live by where? The sea, yeah. Genesis 49:13. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea. He shall be a haven for ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Well, I have the boundaries for Zebulun. Does that look like anywhere by the sea?
No, I thought you were
Yeah. So verses 10 through 14 describe the boundaries for Zebulun. And clearly, it's landlocked. So Zebulun was assigned a portion in Lower Galilee, which is landlocked. I'm not quite sure how to explain, but apparently there's a theory that they had a strip of land that went to the sea. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's what one of the commentators said. Extending to the Mediterranean Sea, forming an enclave in Issachar's territory. What's the question?
What's that reason?
This red here, this is
No, not this.
Great.
this.
No,
This one here, this is unclaimed property.
Oh,
this is the sea.
That's
well,
that's
that
your-
was a-
No, there's still land here. This is where Issachar is going to be.
Oh.
So yeah, they're neither by the Sea of Galilee nor are they by the Mediterranean Sea.
What's that blue?
This one here?
Blue.
This one?
No, the whole section. Blue. Is that water? Is that?
This is water. This is Mediterranean Sea.
What are you talking about? What other blue is there?
That's everyone.
Okay, what? Okay.
So we're developing.
It was colored blue from water.
Okay.
It looked like it was water. It looked like it was,
Well,
it looked like that's why it would be on the water.
That's
I see.
Zebulun, so,
Zebulun,
That's all cities.
Well, what you
yeah.
want-
So when the Bible describes the cities, that's how you develop the boundaries. That's how we know where the boundaries are. Kind of connect the dots.
That's what it looks like.
Whatever.
Well, it's good to know. Rough crowd today. All right, so Zebulun cities are described in verses 15 through 16. Issachar. Well, I was wrong on that. Not Issachar. It's going to be Asher. Asher. Asher is going to be by the Mediterranean Sea. All right, the inheritance of Issachar, Joshua 19:17, and the fourth lot came out to Issachar for the children of Issachar according to their families. And so verses 18 through 23 describe the boundaries of Issachar. Issachar lied east of Zebulun and south of the Sea of Galilee. Issachar occupied the fertile and beautiful Jezreel Valley. It's also going to be a place where major battles take place during Issachar because of the Jezreel Valley. A lot of battles, a lot of crossroads come through there. So there's Issachar. Then we go to Asher. Asher is in red. Or whatever you call that color. Verse 24, and the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher according to their families. And so verses 25 through 31 describe the cities and the boundaries for Asher. What we can see is that their boundary goes the Mediterranean coast and goes all the way up to Tyre, going towards Sidon. And this is present-day Lebanon area here, but it extends up along the coast.
So what mountain is it? Is it
Mount Carmel. Excuse me, not Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel is in here.
you said that above Asher is, Nowadays, what?
Lebanon.
Lebanon?
So this is present day Lebanon up here. Yeah. Back in the day, it was the Phoenicians, which through Lebanese are Phoenicians. Her position was to protect Israel from the northern coastal enemies, such as the Phoenicians. So Asher's land was one of the most fertile land, fulfilling Jacob's blessing. Genesis 49:20. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. We talked about a verse a while back that said that out of the tribe of Asher, the bread came to King Solomon. By King David's time, Asher had faded into insignificance through her tribal identity, but her tribal identity was not lost. We do read in Luke at Jesus' birth, we read about this lady named Anna the prophetess. Luke 2, verse 36, and there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of great age and had lived with her husband 7 years from her virginity, and she was a widow of about 84 years, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. So this event takes place 40 days after Christ's birth. This is when Mary was allowed to leave her house after giving birth. And so they present the firstborn male to the Lord. That's the second reason why they're at the temple. And we find earlier in this passage a man named Simeon who had desired to see the Lord before he died, to see the Messiah before he died. And the Lord told him that the Holy Spirit told him that he would be able to do this, and that he was able to do that. If you're interested in that story, come tomorrow night. We'll talk about that. But the second thing is Anna, who's of Asher. Asher, apparently, she'd been a widow for a long period of time and had time on her hands to spend in the temple. And when the baby Jesus came through, she came and gave thanks. You can imagine any elderly lady just cooling over a baby. So you can imagine Anna. And Anna, who expressed thanks, gave thanks to the Lord. But the amazing thing is what she did next is she spake of him to all them that looked for redemption to Jerusalem. Because of seeing the baby, she went and witnessed. She went and told everybody about the baby. Oh, we gotta see the baby, gotta see the baby. But here we have the testimony of this lady named Anna. In a period of time where, women were over there, you didn't listen to what women had to say. But here Luke testified wanted to say the truth. This lady Anna was out there sharing the good news of the Lord's birth. So very fascinating lady. So one interesting thing is that when Jesus was presented at the temple, there's two witnesses to testify that yes, he is the Messiah. And so always has two witnesses. There's always two witnesses to an event to testify to the truth. Anna, Simeon and Anna. Simeon and Anna. So a little bit Christmas in our study. The next inheritance goes to Naphtali. Naphtali. Joshua 19:32, the sixth law came out of the children of Naphtali, even for the children of Naphtali according to their families. We find their eastern boundary is going to be the Sea of Galilee and the Jordan River. And they're going to fit in between Asher and Zebulun. But they're going to the Sea of Galilee here. Jordan River flows into the Sea of Galilee and out of the Sea of Galilee. So that's their eastern border. The next several verses, 33 through 39, talk about the cities and the boundaries. What do you notice about Naphtali at the time of Christ? A lot of things will happen that Jesus will center his ministry around the Sea of Galilee, which is in the tribe of Naphtali. Well, not a highly significant region in the Old Testament period, Naphtali occupied lands that were important in the New Testament history because of the Galilean ministry of Jesus was centered there. Isaiah contrasted Naphtali's early gloom due to the Assyrian invasion with its glory when Christ would be there. Isaiah 9:1, nevertheless the dimness shall not be such as was in her vexation, when at the first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea, beyond Jordan and Galilee of the nations. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light. They that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. So the light will center here in a dark world, a dark area where the had seen been conquered by the Assyrians, and seen a lot of darkness. In the light, Isaiah prophesied the light would be there. Matthew 4:13, and leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people which sat in darkness saw a great light. To them which sat in the region and the shadow of death, light is sprung up. For that time Jesus began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Such a level when the Bible explains itself. Here we have a light in Naphtali. Well, what is that light? Well, Matthew says, that prophecy has been fulfilled by Christ. B, Jesus' ministry, yes. All right, Dan, inheritance of Dan. It's 1940, and the seventh blood came out of the tribe of the children of Dan. The Dan is going to be located between Ephraim and Judah. They're sandwiched in there. There was something.
Huh?
What do you need? Which one are we missing?
Benjamin.
Benjamin, yeah. Yep, we're there. Located in between Ephraim, Benjamin, and Judah. So the least desirable portion fell to Dan, surrounded by Ephraim and Benjamin on the north and the east, and Judah on the south. Their borders coincided with them, and therefore no borders were described. The Bible doesn't describe their borders, just describes their cities. Because, well, they fit in between the other tribes. They're going to have a rough time. Let's go with B. Dan inherited 17 towns. 17 towns. See, after losing part of their land to the Amorites, most of the tribe moved north to Leshem, which they later named Dan. Judges 1:34, and the Amorites forced the children of Dan into the mountain, for they would not suffer them to come down to the valley. So remember, the other tribes were able to put the Canaanites under tribute. Well, apparently they could not get control of the Canaanites in Dan, and the Canaanites moved them out. Joshua 19:47, and the coast of the children of Dan went out too little for them. Therefore the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, and took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and called Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan their father. Judges 18 describes this entire event of sending spies up and talking to some false priests. And so they went and took the city of Leshem. And so they migrated all the way from down there to the very north. They are looking for easy land, lush land they don't have to work for. Of course, that's going to get them a lot of trouble. And they're going to fall away as well. So those are the inheritance of the 7 tribes. Are you glad I didn't read all the cities?
No, don't know.
Don't read all the cities. So we've given inheritance to all the tribes. So this is what it looks like from a bigger picture. This is the Mediterranean Sea. There's Zebulun and Asher, Naphtali, East, Manasseh, Dan, Ephraim, Benjamin, Dan, Reuben, Simeon, Judah. And so when the north and southern kingdom are going to divide, they're going to divide right through here. All right, who are we missing? Joshua. Who got their inheritance first? Caleb. Caleb got their inheritance first. Got his inheritance first. Joshua waited to the very end. Joshua 19:49. When they had made an end of dividing the land for inheritance by their coast, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua the son of Nun among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked, even Timnath-Serah in Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. Built. No, but he's the one. Remember, Joshua and Caleb are the only two who gave a good report. They came in, so this is his personal inheritance. Caleb got his own inheritance. Joshua got his inheritance. And so Caleb, what did Caleb ask for? What city did Caleb ask for? No, that's Joshua.
Oh, Hebron.
Hebron, yeah. Yeah, so Caleb asked for Hebron. He wanted to take out the giants. Remember, his faith, he has long faith. He has long faith, enduring faith, and he still believed I can take them out. Now, what do we know about all the other tribes? They did not destroy the Canaanites, and Judges will find the Canaanites will take over the Israelites. But here we have Joshua. Joshua is not asking for a lush land himself. He's asking for a land that is in a rugged, infertile, mountainous district of his own tribe, Ephraim, near a mountain called Gash.
What tribe is Caleb?
Not Judah.
What?
Caleb is from the tribe of Judah.
Oh.
Joshua is from the tribe of Ephraim. So we see that this shows Joshua's humility, his selfishness. He waited till everybody else got their inheritance before he got his. He didn't ask for anything great. He asked for something rather undesirable, apparently. And so it's his humility. Anybody want to take a gander at what Timnath-Serah means? You looked up all the other cities?
Oh, I did.
Means portion of the sun, or probably more appropriately in this case, means abundant portion. Abundant portion. Sun as in the light in the sky. Abundant portion. Abundant portion. I would think that Joshua probably named his city, thanking the Lord for everything that God provided, everything that God had done. The abundance that the Lord provides, I would assume Joshua had named it.
So he asked for what?
He asked for this town right here called Timnath-Serah, which is in a rugged area in the mountains of Ephraim. Means.
Who did he ask? He's the one giving it up.
Yeah, so the verse here says, when they had made an end of dividing the land for inheritance by the coast, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua the son of Nun among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked. So the Lord gave it to him, and the children of Israel participated in that gift. Now, Joshua was Moses' right-hand man. Joshua was a general. Joshua took over as the leader of Israel. Joshua became an administrator for Israel to divide up the land. What do we see Joshua now?
Judge.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
He's a builder.
Oh,
He
yeah,
built
he
a city.
He built the city.
He built a city. Joshua moved into the last phase of his life where he's now a builder. He's building his city. Huh?
Let's let her see then.
Joshua is buried there.
Oh. Well, that didn't tell us that in Judges 2.
Judges 2:9. And they buried him in the border of his inheritance in Timnath-Harah, in the Mount of Ephraim on the north side of the hill Gash.
Well, see, I didn't look up the verse. I just thought it was the Judges, and I thought he was the judge there.
Oh.
I was having a hard time with all these
Maybe he does.
boundaries.
Before you got there.
Joshua 19:51. These are the inheritances which Eleazar the priest and the Joshua the son of Nun and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel divided for inheritance by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the tabernacle of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So they made an end of dividing the country. Through this whole time, we've seen God's faithfulness through every step. God provided for the needs of each tribe, though in some cases parts of their inheritance were still in the hands of the enemy. The Israelites were to possess the land by faith, trusting God to enable them to defeat their foes. However, we will find that the Israelites quickly turned to the false gods of the enemy, and God will use the enemy to punish the Israelites in the book of Judges.
So is there Israel or?
Yeah, it's in the West Bank. Yeah. It is 8 o'clock now. I actually have a 19-minute video of a tour. The video describes a tour of Caleb's tomb, which is also apparently located in the same city as Joshua. Not sure why he would have been buried in Hebron, but here they have him buried here in near Joshua. But this particular video goes, and it's pretty interesting. They get up at the wee hours of the morning and walk to the tombs basically under guard of the Israeli Defense Force, with other Jews going to pray. But give a kind of an insight to that. So I do have that, but then we'll wait for next year.
What kind of Jews do that, you know? You know, like the Pharisees or what?
I'm talking about today.
No, but today they're not divided. Like,
They're returning.
Huh?
They're returning home.
okay, but they don't have sections like that, like Pharisees.
Well, there's Orthodox Jews and secular Jews, and yeah,
Christian Jews.
yeah, Messianic Jews.
Like if I go over there and I take white paint and I paint all that, they'll kill me.
Probably. You're in the West Bank.
Because that's like sacred. That wall like that with graffiti.
Well, this is you're in the Palestinian territory. Yeah. So there's only certain times of certain periods that Jews can even get in to pray.
So for your last blanket, you could finish your done.
Dividing the land is completed.
Divided
that-
land is
Do they recognize Joshua as a prophet
Yeah.
or something?
Right. Caleb and Joshua. Yeah.
Because they would like destroy the.
Right.
some difference.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions? We still got more to cover in Joshua, but we're finishing it up. And we'll finish it up next year.
Merry Christmas.
Next year. Oh.
Merry Christmas.
Other questions, comments?
Yeah, I'm trying to video.
Unless you want to. You have 19 minutes. You want to see the video? How many want to see the video? Or how many want to eat? Oh,
The pastor's not having his class.
Yeah. So we meet there in this class.
all right. Here's the video.
We see the video and then we meet.
There's a story that's not being told. The story of Jerusalem, Judea, and Samaria. The world has condemned it as the occupied West Bank. Could it be the biblical and historical heartland of Israel? Hear the miraculous stories of true pioneers who have dedicated their lives to the restoration of this land. Discover what's being hidden by mainstream news and media. Experience extraordinary places that few people even know exist. Join us, the Joshua and Caleb Report. Stories from the heartland of Israel. Welcome back to the Joshua and Caleb Reports. It's, what, 10:30 tonight? It feels much later.